So let's talk about something today that I don't hear being nearly discussed enough about. And that's body image issues for men, and more importantly, how to actually be in your body, love being in the skin you're in, and feeling comfortable and confident and sexy within yourself for guys. Because let's face it, you cannot turn on a television or jump on the internet and not see an ad about inclusivity and feeling good in yourself for women. I mean, every yogurt commercial practically talks about that. But for us dudes, it's not so much discussed. And if you think that men have less issues with confidence, body sensitivity, feeling not sexy or not feeling desirable in their skin, or caring what other people think, then you are dead wrong. So if we haven't met before, my name is Kay. I'm an ecstatic spiritual life coach, author of the book Journey to the Ecstatic Self. We actually talk quite a bit about this, so please check it out. And my upcoming book, I Dreamt a Flight, which actually launches in about a week if you're watching this on the date it aired. If you don't know much about my story, I spent most of my life feeling awkward, uncomfortable in my skin, feeling like my body was some sort of clunky machine that I couldn't fully operate, and feeling like I basically wanted to be anybody else. Since then, I have done a lot of work to learn to feel good here, to feel like this is a place I want to be, to actually feel sexy, and to feel good about being me. But that has been a hard-won journey, and as a man, there haven't been a lot of role models to help guide me along that way. So first and foremost, let's begin by addressing the impossible standards that men are expected to live up to, because we hear about them for women. We hear about women needing to be lithe and thin and perpetually 22 and submissive but powerful and yada 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 yada. And those are real and impossible standards to live up to, and I am so glad that there is so much focus being brought to dismantling of these paradigms to say, is that really true? But even wonderful people like Brene Brown, who I admire so much, she admits, she's like, I don't really know what to tell guys, because yeah, we have this idea that you're supposed to be like this white knight or this cowboy up on your horse and be sensitive, but don't get off that horse, don't let me see you be vulnerable. I want you to share your emotions, but do not admit that you have them. Like there's this double standard of what we're supposed to be like. And a shift happened in the 1980s in American culture, actually largely fueled by the AIDS crisis, where suddenly boys' toy figurines that they played with went from looking normal, humanly proportioned to looking like the Hulk and looking like these super roided out bodybuilders. Because at this time in gay culture, men were so sick and dying, there was this overemphasis on looking virile and healthy, and also the proliferation of rampant steroid use. We started to idealize these hyper-masculinized physiques. And if you think that gays don't actually have that much power to influence popular culture, you're wrong. Because gays largely are the taste setters for the world. We are the makeup artists, the hairstylists, the dressers, the costume designers for all the celebrities, for all the people in the magazines, more or less. And so what we come up with usually tends to feed into the public zeitgeist. And it can be a kind of nasty and self-perpetuating sort of cycle, and we're seeing it now with the impossible beauty standards for women, where queer artists are influenced by drag, which is hyper-femininity, and then they bring that into their work with celebrities, and then the celebrities become more exaggerated, more feminine, and then the public wants to look that way, and then the drag artists become even more of an exaggeration of that, and suddenly we're spiraling. This same thing happened for guys in the 1980s, where suddenly to be a man, it wasn't good enough to just, go for a walk and play some tennis and, be healthy. Suddenly it had to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, couple that with the waning availability of blue and white collar jobs and the destruction of the single income household, where suddenly a man can't support his family on his own. It requires two incomes, and even that is oftentimes not enough in contemporary culture. We're seeing where this situation for toxic masculinity of never feeling good enough, of having to hyper-perform masculinity, is able to come to the forefront. Because now we're telling men, you need to look super jacked, you need to make a ton of money, you need to have a gigantic dick, you need to be super successful, and you need to make it all look super easy. Don't ever let us see you sweat. And for a lot of people, much of that is going to be very, very hard work, to the point that it may or may not be actually attainable. unattainable. And so we're setting up guys for this feeling of failure, of I wish I could be that and I can't. I don't know about you, but how often have you looked at the guys in the fitness magazines or on TV shows and be like, I should have abs like those. Like apparently everybody has abs like those and I definitely do not. But every single one of those guys, for the most part, is not naturally that way. Like they are taking hormonal supplementation to make their bodies look like that. And even if our brains know it, right? Like even with plastic surgery, like even if we know someone has had plastic surgery or their images have been altered in Photoshop or with filters, even though we can kind of tell, we still start to think, I should be like that. And just side note, there is nothing wrong with wanting to change yourself, wanting to improve, wanting to become something different. We're going to be talking about that in a few minutes, actually. So I'm not saying that anyone is ever wrong for using chemical substances to change their body, or for having cosmetic surgery, or hiring a stylist, or wearing makeup. Like, do what you want to do. If it makes you happy, then go ahead and do it. As long as you're aware of what price you might have to pay down the line for your choices, go ahead and do it. I'm not judging this. But my point in sharing this is that we live in a culture that has a largely unacknowledged situation for guys where we're told to achieve the impossible and then we feel like shit because we haven't achieved it, and then we don't have a culture set up that allows us to express those feelings, to share our disappointment, and we just end up resenting ourselves and feeling really horrible in our skin. And that's a lot. And if at this point in the video you're thinking, okay, you are a rather unclothed dude with a fairly developed body, what do you know about those feelings? Well, let me just say that for most of my adult life, I was continuously reminded of how awkward and uncouth and gangly I was. In my mid-20s, I actually weighed in about 45 pounds less than I do now, 140 pounds at 6'1", which is pretty damn light. If you actually look up the trailer for the film Origins of Wit and Humor, you can see me at the very beginning of the trailer and looking quite a bit different.
You know, comedy actually started with slapstick.
Is that what genre you're calling your body of work?
You know what? I do have an idea for a sketch. It's about a guy who thinks that what he likes is better than what everyone else likes. And it's not just an opinion of taste, no, it's...
I spent most of my life feeling very uncomfortable in my body, feeling not sexy, feeling unattractive, not thinking that anybody would ever really find me attractive, and really resenting myself for it. Fortunately, I started to uncover tools and practices to help me start to find a level of peace, a level of acceptance, a level of joy with myself as I am, and simultaneously began to work towards change. Because I do believe that both things are necessary. We both need to work, and we also have to accept where we are. People who tell you to just love yourself and embrace everything about you as you are, you know, that's really difficult to do, and I feel like it's a little bit of bullshit. Like, there is going to be stuff we're not satisfied with, and it's okay to admit that. And simultaneously, the opposite is also not helpful, where people say, oh, go get this cosmetic surgery, or go gain 50 pounds of muscle, and you'll be happy, because no, that's also bullshit. If you are waiting for that thing in the future to finally make you happy, chances are really good that you're going to get there. And there's this thing called the arrival fallacy, where you'll show up and you'll be like, oh, this wasn't as rewarding as I thought it would be. Maybe I'll go for something even further, even more extreme. And then the next thing you know, you have like facial fillers out to here and biceps up to here, and your heart is giving out, and fill in the rest. So I really do believe for many things in life, there needs to be this two-pronged approach of appreciation and gratitude and acceptance of our current state, finding contentment, true contentment, and at the same time, working towards our goals. So, to that end, how have you taken time to actually appreciate your body? Do you ever, A, give yourself a loving, gentle massage, B, stand in front of a mirror, clothed or naked, and find at least one thing you can appreciate about yourself and say, gosh, that's nice, I like that. Hell, can you even just go in front of a mirror and smile at yourself for a couple minutes? Can you do that while making eye contact and see how you feel? Do you use words of gratitude for yourself? This is something that I think is really, really beneficial. It's something I try to do every single day, is to find things to be grateful for. And as we work particularly on body acceptance and feeling good in our skin, using words like, I'm so grateful for this body. I'm so grateful that it's ambulatory, that it's able to move and do things and pick up water glasses and take me shopping and let me go to the gym or whatever I need to do. Because whether you currently acknowledge it or not, your body is an amazing machine. It does all of these trillions of different things in complex and nuanced ways. There is more inside of you than you have any idea. Like just the number of neurons that have had to coordinate to allow you to listen this far into this video is staggering. Have you taken time to actually appreciate, holy fuck, this is an amazing gift I've been given. And I think this is something we can really take from spiritual traditions of the East, of saying we have what are called precious human lives. This idea that so many spirits or pieces of cosmos, soul stuff, ache to have the opportunity to have a human life because of all the amazing things we're able to do. To really see this body, this mind, this existence as a treasure and to honor it every day and thank it every day and be kind to it. I mean, because let's be honest, when was the last time you were truly kind to your body? When was the last time you did something really nice for it, especially as a guy? Because women are given more permission to like get massages and facials and go take bubble baths and eat chocolate. When was the last time you actually said, hey, thank you, body, I'm so grateful for what you do, let me do something kind for you? Chances are good, probably not enough. Or if you did it, there was still a level of resentment towards your body for not being good enough, or you chastised it while you were doing it, or you weren't present to the experience, your mind was elsewhere. James Joyce describes a character in one of his books as living a short distance from his body. So many of us do that. So many of us don't fully occupy these amazing mechanisms. Hell, when I was a younger man, if someone tried to touch me below the diaphragm, like if I went and got a massage, I legitimately couldn't feel them. Okay, I can feel you, I can feel you, I can feel you. Nope, can't feel you. It's like their hands disappeared. It was so disconnected from my lower half. And largely that was also due to my sexuality because I didn't even let somebody kiss me until I was 25 years old. Repressed. But I could have been doing much more body integration work through self-love, self-connection than I had been doing. So this is step one. Find time to really love and accept and cherish this body, make it feel good. And I promise you by doing that, you're going to sleep better, feel better, digest food better, make love better. You're going to feel better throughout your day. You're going to be more focused, more relaxed. We tend to think of the mind and body as being separate things, but they are not. If you feel good about your body and are feeling blessed to be here, your whole life is going to improve. So please take some time to just feel gratitude for what is. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you've undoubtedly heard me say something like I'm about to say, but I think it bears repeating. There is a law in the universe. It's a law of physics by Sir Isaac Newton. Same thing. For every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. If you approach something with a lot of force and a lot of pressure, there is going to be an equal force pushing back. Case in point, water. Imagine for a moment you have a pool of water, and if you go and belly flop into that water, there is going to be a lot of pressure coming back at you. But same pool, same day, same water, same temperature, same everything. If you just gently dive into the pool or slip into the pool without a huge amount of force, you're gonna glide right through. Part of the reason so many of us fail to find effective change in our life, to truly feel like, hey, I want to do this thing, I want to make this change, I want to grow in this way, and we don't see it manifest, is because we're approaching with too much force. Think about your New Year's resolutions. You start off with great gusto, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, and 5 weeks later you've petered out because you can't sustain that level of effort, and you're going to find an equal amount of things trying to push back against you. But if it were easy, if you were intent on doing it, but also didn't feel like you were desperate for it, then you didn't need it, it would just be really nice. It's gonna come a lot easier. Think about somebody who asks you for a favor. If someone's like, gimme, I need it, you're gonna be like, whoa, dude, chill out, hang on, no. But they're like, hey, do you mind helping me with this thing? You'll be like, yeah, sure, okay. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So if you maintain this state of contentment, joy, surrender with your current state, and then also move towards change, you're not putting a lot of force in that direction. You've got energy there, but not a lot of force, not a lot of will. Will is not a great word in spiritual work. We want to find surrender, we want to find ease because it builds this resistance. Things are going to start happening easily. So once you've found peace, once you've found solace, once you've found acceptance of where you are, then you can go and start to find the change that you're really hoping for. So for that then, you need to do the work and you need to hold yourself accountable. As a coach and just as a general observer of human life, one of the things I often find frustrating is people who say they're going to do something but then never actually do. Or worse yet, people who moan and complain about how the world is set against them and if it only it weren't for X, Y, Z reasons, possessions, they would be having a fabulous life. Well, sorry kiddos, but by doing that, by victim playing, by saying, it's not my fault, it's the world's fault, if only it weren't for them, I'd have this happening, you are giving away your power. You are giving away your agency, you're giving away your ability to make change, because you're saying these people are more powerful than I am. These forces are more powerful than me, and I can't do anything about it. And as somebody who spent much of his life playing the victim, I'm fucking tired of that. Show up and take responsibility for yourself, because you know what? That's what a real man does, is take responsibility. So don't give me that bullshit. Don't tell me I can't do it because of whatever. You know, when I was struggling with my weight loss and being that skinny, I found out that I was dealing with malabsorption, where I would eat a piece of food and it would basically pass through the same way it looked when I ingested it in about 4 hours, which is a fraction of the time it's meant to take to travel through a person's digestive system. And so I started working with healthcare practitioners. I prefer Eastern modalities of healing with traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, so I went that route, but I'm sure there's also excellent Western medicine providers for that. And over time, I started to see changes. And in my 30s, I'm now 34, I've kind of entered a situation where I was feeling like, my body isn't in the place that I really want it to be. I'm feeling fine, but I'm not feeling like I'm reaching my full potential. Started to make different choices, started to explore supplementation, started to look at hiring a new coach and trainer, like doing the things that I needed to do to say, hey, you know what? At the end of this life, I'm the one responsible. And if I didn't have the life I wanted, I don't want to be sitting there thinking, woulda, shoulda, coulda, all these regrets. I'd rather say, you know what, fuck it. Maybe I made stupid choices. Maybe I didn't make the best choices, but I lived a life that felt in alignment with my values and what I desired, and that felt good to me. That felt congruent with who I feel like I am inside. And whether anyone else understands that or whether people judge me for that or not, fuck them. It's not their life. At the end of life, they're not thinking about me. I'm the only person to whom I'm accountable. And if you have a significant other, them too. And if you're under 18, also your parents. But if you're watching this, you're probably not under 18, so forget that one. Your mom and dad no longer matter for the most part. You are responsible for your life. Only you. And do you want to die with more regrets than you have memories? Because I know I don't. So stop bullshitting. Stop saying I could or I should or I would. Just fucking do it. And be ready to pay whatever price you need to pay to get the results you want. Because everything in life has a price. You might say, I really would love to be more fit, but I have these issues and I would have to start taking testosterone to be able to achieve those goals. And I've read testosterone can cause A, B, and C. It's like, okay, yeah, that's true. It could. And at the same time too, you know what also can reduce your life expectancy and make a lot of health problems? Feeling shit about yourself and being depressed and being sad and lonely and feeling crappy about the skin you're in. So you're paying a price no matter what you do. It's not like we get to make choices without implications for those choices. And non-action is still a choice. Not always the most interesting choice, but it is still a choice. So man up and get your shit together. And if you do these things, if you hold yourself accountable and do the things you want to do to develop the body, to have the experience you want to have of yourself, whether that's weight training or yoga and Tai Chi and learning to really be in yourself and getting to experience your breath, which I recommend everyone do some form of mindful movement, or whether it's dance or basketball or skiing or doing something that gets your body moving and develops it. Because if you really do view these bodies as gifts, then you do want to develop them. You do want to make them into whatever they have the potential of being. You know, while on one hand I am so accepting of body diversity and saying there are many different ways for a body to be beautiful, at the same point too, I also want to be real and say, you know, you're not honoring this gift by not developing it. You're not honoring this gift by getting so overweight that you're struggling to move and have mobility and are not functioning well. Like, you are dishonoring yourself through that process. And that's where we go back to that first half, which is no matter where you are, because we are all of us works in progress. I am not where I want to be. I am working and growing towards where I am, but I'm finding contentment with where I am. And wherever you are, you need to find contentment. You need to find joy. You need to find love. You need to find bliss. You need to find happiness. You need to find gratitude for where you are and to celebrate it. And to genuinely look at yourself in the mirror and genuinely see a photograph of yourself and say, damn, I feel sexy. And if you're struggling to do that, do the exercises I suggested. Meditate every day. It is one of the best things for changing neural pathways and creating neuroplasticity and changing habits and changing perception. Probably part of the reason you found this channel in the first place, right? You need to meditate every day in silence, at least 20 minutes. And over time, you'll start to find that. Spending time in nature is another big one for me, to realize, gosh, there is so much beauty in the way things are organically. That the way we are meant to be is beautiful and sacred and whole. When you can see the perfection in a leaf, in a tree, in a sparrow, in a slug, then you can start to extend that to yourself as well. And one last suggestion in regards to this is watch how you talk about others. When you describe somebody else, and it's so easy to do in this online world where we're anonymous and leaving comments and tweets that can be less than thoughtful, when you tell somebody they're ugly or fat or unbeautiful or anything unnice, you're saying that to yourself as well. You're putting that out there in the universe. I invite you to join me in trying to use only words of kindness, because that person over there is another aspect of the divine that made you. You're not that different. And what you put out there, what you do to another person, truly is what you do to yourself. And so if you find yourself putting negativity out there, your body's going to reflect it, your face is going to reflect it, your life is going to reflect it. And that doesn't mean we always have to be nice, but I think we can always strive to be kind. Nice means not saying the hard things sometimes. And again, that's bullshit. We speak our truth, we be honest, we have integrity, we be accountable, but we can do it with kindness, we can do it with compassion, we can do it with love. And when you start behaving that way in all of your words, it becomes a lot easier to do it for yourself. If this message resonated with you, please do check out my new book, I Dreamt a Flight, because this stuff we've been talking about is exactly the journey that this overweight, depressed, isolated, bullied teenager goes on, of learning to love himself and become one with himself and to sink into his body. So if you're so inclined, please buy a copy on Amazon and leave a nice review, because those reviews help to drive traffic and get more people to hear these messages of coming home to yourself and inclusion and loving the skin you're in. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.